Hello guys, this is the third game between Crabling and Void. They're currently tied 1-1 in the final of the Varus Cup. Crabling is taking a bunch of the new Lizardman units against Void's Wood Elves. Not too much changed about Wood Elves this patch. Poison change and Frenzy change probably the thing that affected them the most, but that's not really a Wood Elf specific change. And then for the Lizardmen, well, they're trusting a lot on these Chameleon Stalkers, and these Chameleon Skinks just bring a full Chameleon army with the Skink Oracle. Surprised there's no Fireball. It's actually bringing Wisdom's Wild Form, Harmonic Convergence, and Earthblood, as well as the Opal Amulet. Oxyotl, of course, the leader of the Chameleons. And there's a Salamander Hunting Pack. Those things got their costs reduced as well. So Wood Elves are just going forward into this. Remember, they cannot really see this enemy army. Well, they can now that they're this close, but before they weren't really able to see it. But the Skink Oracle immediately kind of goes into the epicenter of the Glade Guard. And yeah, that's the worst place to be if you're facing an archer line. If you're right in the middle of them, the units at the edge can shoot you, the units in the middle can shoot you, and the units on the other edge can shoot you as well. So that's not where you want to put your expensive single entity. So the Chameleons, they're sort of trying to wrap around and overwhelm the flanks. And the Glade Riders with spears. This is sort of what happens to any cavalry if you go for the Chameleons. Your cavalry gets outnumbered and can't kill the Chameleons in melee fast enough while they're also being shot by other Chameleons. So yeah, good value there for Crabling. On this side though, the Chameleon is actually fighting the Glade Rider one-on-one, and in that case it's a much better fight for the Wood Elves, as you can see. So that's a pretty big catch. Now the Drycha, she is just staying safe in the back, which is not a bad idea against Oxyotl. This guy actually is very good at sniping, well, most things, but especially single entities and characters, because he's already gotten the Spellsinger quite low. Didn't manage to quite finish her off though. And yeah, the Chameleon advance seems to be faltering already. Glade Guard, of course, especially the Starfire shafts, they can actually shoot Chameleons pretty well despite their missile resistance. And the reason why that is because these guys still have significant armor. 30 is actually significant armor, 40 is definitely significant armor. So they pierce that, and it sort of negates a lot of the missile resistance that they have. 22.5% damage reduction is what 30 armor does, so if you pierce that, there's not much left, basically. Well, if you reduce that from the missile resistance that they have. So yeah, Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts, actually pretty good counter to Chameleons. That's what you can take away from that. And these Eternal Guard, they're sort of just going into the fray, more or less getting sacrificed, but Void is fine so long as he can keep his archer line firing, which he is doing right now. And once again, the Skink Oracle is getting shot by a lot of stuff. Throws down an Earthblood to heal himself. Of course, not the most effective single target healing. And right now he's sort of getting stopped by these Wildwood Rangers and damaged. And now he's routing, so Crabling can no longer control him to try and dodge. And yeah, this Skink Oracle will be going down. And this looks like it's going to be a very convincing victory for the Wood Elves. One thing I gotta say is, it's very early on to really judge them, but I'm not too convinced by the Chameleon Stalkers so far. They have just a little bit of ammunition, which they can throw at very short range, and their melee attack is very low. So once they do get into melee, they don't hit very hard, especially for a 675 gold unit. With that being said, they still got decent value considering the situation, so maybe their shots did actually connect quite well, because it didn't look like they were doing very well in the melee fights that followed. Yeah, obviously the Glade Guard are the MVPs of that battle. Sometimes you come up against these builds that have even more than 5 Glade Guard, and it's so difficult to deal with. Also, you can see the new icons here for the Glade Riders, which look pretty cool. Yeah, the Salamander Hunting Packs, I didn't even focus on them in the battle. It seemed they were taken offline so fast They did get buffed, but they are of course outranged by these Glade-powered Starfire Shafts, so it's very difficult to use them effectively. And the Chameleon Skinks feeling that nerf a little bit, but I do think the Skink Oracle could have been more effective. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next battle between these two. Currently 2-1 to Void.